What's up, everybody? Elias Benjaloon here, and I'm excited to dive in with y'all about how to set effective meeting agendas and just be a great secretary or parliamentarian for your organization or for your business. Keeping track of minutes is an essential piece to moving any organization forward, whether it's your own startup, your own team, your own project, maybe even for your own homework teams. But this is, for a public organization that we're going to jam on today. I serve on the Las Vegas American Arab Chamber of Commerce here in Southern Nevada. And as the secretary, it's my job to put together agendas. And so I have a rolling meeting agenda template that I use, and I'm going to spice that up today and show you kind of the process for creating effective meetings. Now, if you look at my screen, you can see that I have a couple of documents on here already, including the LVAACC rolling agenda document. And I'm going to show you in a fresh document how to start one from scratch, and then we'll update mine so that way I can circulate it with the board. But you also see a Google form here, which reads LVAACC mission, vision, and value statements. Now, we always want to create an opportunity for input from across the organization or across from the stakeholders that are coming to the meeting to make sure that we're hearing them and we're including their voices in the meeting, right? As a secretary, your job is, and as a leader in the community or in your organization, is not just about you setting the agenda and putting things on the agenda, but it's also about listening to what everybody else has to say and facilitating fair, proper communication, collaboration across the team, so everybody feels heard, and everything is done transparently, and that creates a situation for great trust for your team. So if I wanted to start this document from scratch, I would just open up a Google document, and generally I follow this very simple process. So we got the org name, okay, and I'll include this as a template for y'all so you could just copy this, right? So I've got the organization name, and I'll probably do like org name, rolling agenda underneath it, center both of those things. And then I generally have a table of key links, right? So for example, if we did have a Google form, I would say, form submission, or like agenda submission form, right? Or feedback submission form. And I would create that back in my Google Drive folder that is shared with everybody, create a Google form, name it, do all that jazz, and link it here, right? So I already have this done for the LVAACC thing. And so I'm going to go ahead and just copy this URL. And this is the URL not for collaborators, but for people to fill out the form. Okay. And I did it in a way, in this case, where it's anonymous for people to anonymously fill out the form. If I want to circulate the answers, then I can grab the spreadsheet and I can say, results here, right? And then people can have both access to results as well as the form. Now, the form, I make it so that anybody can fill out the form. But for the results, you want to make sure only the stakeholders who need visibility have visibility. Then I'll do maybe a Google Drive folder. That way I can encourage my fellow members to upload relevant documents, PDFs, etc., that we need to all have access to into Google Drive, or even photos from meetings and events, and any other relevant information. If we talk about budget a lot, then I might have a link to our budget spreadsheet. And then I put the date, very simple. So today is, I think, March 15th. It's March 15th. And then my structure for the meetings is always, who's there, attendance, what is the agenda walking into the meeting, what are some notes that come across during the meeting, and then the action items. I use this checkbox for action items. And I structure it as person to do XYZ by date. Let's say March 18th, right? So Elias to create the agenda, for example, or whatever the case may be. Now, the agenda, this is where we check our feedback form to see what works, what people want on the agenda. If there's a vote, bringing that up into the agenda, tracking who's there in attendance ahead of time, not ahead of time, when we're there in the meeting, and then taking notes. And I generally take notes anonymously, unless if it's relevant to point out who said what, but that way we just hear everybody's feedback, we put it in one place, and we can all look back at it week over week. So that's part one of how to establish all of this. Watch me in the next video as I set this up for the Arab Chamber in a way that is presentable for our organization.